Sorry. Welcome one and all to the webinar on Model United Nations 101. About diplomatics. Is an inclusive community dedicated to innovation and excellence in model political competitions. We desire to groom the leaders of tomorrow by providing a touch of political and diplomatic world to young students from school level to university level. Diplomatics supports students and scholars from all over the world and contributes knowledge and expertise locally, nationally, and internationally. Such exposure would be directed towards developing and maintaining overall growth of political as well as diplomatic skills, which can facilitate peaceful resolutions. I feel honored today to esteem our speaker for this session, Miss Sarah Ibrahim. She is currently pursuing her master's in national law and majoring in political sciences. She is greatly concerned and involved in debates that tackle human rights, international relations, and feminism. She participated in various national and international MUNs, earning diplomacy awards in addition to representing her country in international summits. She chaired several committees in international conferences and global MUNs, and her interest in humanitarian issues and geopolitics drives her to raise the voice and remain active in order to attain equality and justice through leadership. Thank you everyone for joining. Without further ado, let us begin. I would like to request the speaker to take this session forward and enlighten us all. You can all drop your questions in the chat box.
Thank you, Garima, for this very lovely introduction. I am glad to have you all here, and I hope that you're going to have a very fruitful session with us, and that by the end of the session, you're in your very first MUN that Mediate Guru will be hosting very soon. I'll be turning off my camera due to very bad connection now, so we can have a great presentation. You can all drop your questions. I'm looking forward for this presentation for you. So you're asking yourself, why are you attending the session today? What is MUN? What is Model United Nations? Why would someone actually be interested in interfering in something that is very big, that as it seems? MUN is a simulation of the Model United Nations, how the United Nations work. It's a kind of a smaller picture of how your representatives of the governments of your countries actually go to the United Nations, how they debate, how they discuss the national and international global issues, how they wish to actually find solutions for them. So MUN is your first step into getting into the field of politics, law, humanitarian law, geopolitics, all of these fields that are very interesting, yet at the same time, they're very complicated to some. Model United Nations will help you see that this is a very easy field, and this is something that if you're looking forward to become a leader, whether it's in your own community or whether it's in your future, let's say you're wishing to be some kind of representative, MUN is going to be the best experience for you, so it can help you grow, and you're going to see that you're going to gather so many skills and that your ideas will grow so well. You're all asking yourselves, what is a leader and how does a leader become? A leader is not born, a leader gives birth to himself. And just by you assisting in this session, it means that you are taking the courage to actually look forward to MUN. It means that you're daring to look and to see what MUN hides for you. And it takes you one step to become someone that is very interested in politics. It takes you one step to actually look forward and to actually take more steps in this very exciting journey, because it takes one step to become someone that is very professional. Do not be afraid to dare. Do not be afraid to take that first step. Do not be afraid to actually speak up and share your ideas. You're going to see that your voice matters. Everyone in this world has a voice, but not everyone uses it. And it is your time now to use your voice by starting up very small, by starting up by very tiny experiences that will help you gather so much information. You're going to see how this tiny experiences will help you grow as a human being, as a citizen, as someone who's going to become a leader in the future. So I hope everyone gets excited for what's coming up, because sometimes the rules and procedures seem kind of boring, but I hope at least you can get a little bit excited, because it's going to be a very brief experience of how MUN actually works. So I hope we can swipe up for the next slide. Okay. You're asking yourself, what does MUN do? Why do we do MUNs? And what are the benefits of MUNs? So I can actually assure you that MUNs will help you grow not only as individuals. They will help you grow as people who are going to be very effective in their communities later on. So the political humanitarian debates are very important. It not only gives you an idea what's happening around you in the world, but it also gives you the effect and the power to be sharing information, to be helping your community by small steps, just like by speaking up, sharing your ideas, by discussing, by debating, by having the chance to find solutions to very important and global issues. You might ask yourself, what are the benefits? Why would I actually take part in an MUN session? Why would I take the time to invest in something that might seem way too big, way too difficult? The youth are the core, they're the core of every society. And when we focus on the youth, it means we're focusing on bettering our societies. It means we're focusing on having a very progressed future. So when we give the youth the chance to actually take part in such conferences, we are helping our countries grow. We're helping them grow. And students not only develop themselves, but they also develop their societies. You're going to see that, because once you take part in one MUN experience, you're going to see how much your brain will expand, how much you're going to gather more information. You're going to grow this very critical thinking talent within you. Leadership is one key of MUN, and you're going to see that MUN is going to help you develop leadership skills. You're going to be starting to water this leadership plant that you're going to gather and harvest later on when you grow. As we can see, there are so many pandemics around us, so many political issues. MUN will give you this very quick and this very important overview of how actually politics work around you. You're going to gather information you never thought you would need, but you actually do. And active citizenship, as I have mentioned in my introduction, is very important, because once we are active, we can help our communities, even if it's a small community. No matter how tiny you think you are helping, you are actually. So do not be afraid of taking your first step in any experience that's going to help you grow and that's going to have so many effects on the surroundings of yours. And especially concerning the COVID pandemic, you have seen that everyone was stuck at home. So many people have taken the chance to start and host so many conferences, and so many people have actually taken the chance to take part in them. And that's how you expand your networking circle, and you connect with international delegates that share your same interests. And it's not only when you're assisting in a local MUN where your college mates you might see, when you're taking part in a very international and global conference, you're getting the chance to meet people from different countries, from different regions of the world. You're trying to connect with people with different views, with how they see these issues and how they're going to deal with them. What are the skills of a great delegate? You can post them down in the chat so I can see what do you think are the great skills, or what are the needed skills for a delegate to be a great one, to be a delegate that's going to be recognized by the chair, by the other delegates. So you can post your answers. Well, who do you think is a great delegate? What are the qualities of a good delegate in your opinion? You might ask yourself what makes a delegate a very good one, one that's very recognized by the chair, one that, yes, listening skills, I see, that's correct. Any other qualities that anyone wishes to mention? To have a knowledge of the topic and try to argue reasoning. I do agree to this point. Without further ado, let's see what, in my opinion, makes a good delegate. I was a delegate and I was a chair as well. Delegates do not actually know what are the important qualities because they think they just need to win. MUN is not about winning. MUN is about assisting. It's about taking part. It's about being active. So delegates sometimes think that they just need to say out their opinions, say out their resolutions, and not listen to the others in order to be winning. But as a chair, I have noticed that the chair needs to see more qualities in a delegate. I will be dividing my personal opinion of how a delegate should be into two. So I'm going to speak character-wise, and then I'm going to be tackling the ideas, how you should present your ideas as a delegate. So I see good negotiation skills and being an active speaker. That's correct. As I have said, leadership is very important. You do not have to be a leader. You are going to become a leader once you take part in the MUN. So that makes sense. This plant is going to grow little by little as soon as you step in your first conference, whether it's virtual or it's where you're assisting, taking part personally in it. Leadership means that you're going to lead by example. Once you have a resolution, once you share your resolution, once you speak out your ideas without fear, with courage, in order to be debating and negotiating with the other delegates, in order to be finding the common interests of all countries, because at the same time, you have to recognize that MUNs are not about a personal benefit. You need to be noticing that MUNs are about the whole committee succeeding, the whole committee setting resolutions to be finding common solutions for all the countries taking part in that committee. Cooperation is very needed because, as you can tell, there are so many countries present in the committee. They all need to find the interest. They all need to find one solution for the very important topic. It might be a very big problem that even our current representatives cannot find solutions for. And for that, let's focus on the cooperation. Let's focus on one hand. Let's focus on the whole committee, the committee as a whole, not on one country's interest. And that's when two countries' interests, they confront each other. That's when we see when a delegate is actually diplomatic. And I will go to the last point. I will go back to the other points. Diplomacy is very important because what else can you do if you are not diplomatic in MUN? You need to be very diplomatic. You need to share your ideas, but at the same time, you need to be listening. You need to be seeing how the others perceive that solution, how the others perceive your ideas, how your own resolution might affect other countries. So you need to be very diplomatic with the answers you're sharing, with the ideas you're trying to get the other delegates know about you. Respect is very important. So when the delegates are communicating with each other, we need to see the respect within them, because we're not there to compete, we're there to cooperate, and the winner is the one that actually presents their ideas better than the others. That's the only criteria I would say that will help them present themselves as a winner. As I have said, it's not about winning, it's only about taking part, it's about sharing your ideas, it's about being present in that committee, it's about learning, it's about gathering all this information and experience. And I can promise you that one MUN conference can give you so much no other experience would ever give you. So we're going to go to the point that says initiation. You need to initiate. You need to give yourself the opportunity to speak up, to share one idea that you have noticed that no one has said before in the committee. One idea of yours can change the flow of the whole committee. Communication, as we have mentioned, we need the delegates to be communicating with each other. We need to see how cooperative all these delegates are, how everyone is sharing their ideas, yet they're not screaming at each other. They're just sharing them respectively and respectively as well. I will be tackling now how delegates shall be presenting their ideas. So as a delegate, you're going to be given a country to represent. You're going to be given a country that might not be your very own country. So you need to take MUN as if you are acting. You need to act as the representative of the country you have taken the representation of. You need to research yourself, and you need to present your ideas. So one very important point I would actually emphasize on is how a delegate is very aware of his country's foreign policy, national and international, geopolitics, allies, enemies, and how he's going to present this stance in the committee session. The knowledge concerning the topic is very important. The more you research, the more you know the defense, the army, the governmental powers, the national organizations that are in your country. The more you are powerful in your committee, the more you can present ideas. The more, if someone actually sends you a message that your country cannot do this, you can say, no, I can do that as a country. As a representative, I'd say, of Turkey, I can actually present the help for women's rights within the organization I have had since 2010. These important keynotes will help you, and they will make you a very special delegate. So the more you know, the more it's going to give you power to speak, to communicate with the other delegates. We have said that you need to be respecting the national and international policies, respecting the committee's mandate. So many committees are within the United Nations body. So each body has its own mandate, each body has its own power. Delegates should be aware when they're proposing solutions that these solutions are under the committee's mandate, and that these solutions are very creative, yet they are doable, they are realistic, they are logical. So they can, propose something out of this world, something that is not doable. That's not going to give you the power to actually be a very active delegate, because if you're proposing something that's out of your country's power, that's not going to give you the power to communicate and to debate that proposition. Now we're moving on, and I think I have mentioned everything concerning the skills of a delegate. And I can give you quick tips before starting with the MUN procedures. I know so many people are afraid to take part in MUN because they think they are beginners. They think they have never taken part in one MUN, so it means they have no experience. That's why they are afraid. I can tell you something, and I can assure you that everyone was a beginner once. So you need to take that first step. You need to take that first experience. You need to research that first country you are given to represent. And you need to assist in that first conference, and then you're going to be experienced. Do not be afraid of being a beginner. The procedures are quite simple. As long as you understand how the committee flows, you're going to be very powerful. No matter how many times you have done MUN, if you have done that 0 times, if you have done that 100 times, you're going to see that a beginner is one step. So do not be afraid. A beginner shouldn't pressure himself. Do not put that much pressure on yourself with research. Just research the basic things, research the basic information, try to learn, try to watch the other delegates, try to learn the procedures. It is very easy for you once you just get once you get the hang of it. So how the MUN works within a committee, how do you think that works? It works in a very simple way. Within a committee, we have the board of dais that are the chair, that are the messengers that are going to send messages if it's a personal conference. If it's a virtual conference, most likely there are going to be chairs, and they're going to be you delegates, and they're going to be the people that will help you throughout the technical problems. So how does a conference start? It starts off with the roll call. Roll call is given as a responsibility to the chair. They're going to be calling out all the countries present, and they're going to be doing so by the alphabetical order. And once you call yourself as a present delegate, so you're either given the chance to say, I am present, or I'm present and voting. Once you say you are present, you are giving yourself the right to miss out the substantive votes on abstaining by that. And I will explain that very later. But I'm just telling you that there are 2 options. When the roll call is on, when a committee begins, you have the chance to either say you are present or you're present and voting. And present means that you can abstain from the substantive substantive votes. And present and voting means that you only have 2 chances of saying whether you are in favor or against a motion. And we're going to see that. Then the chair opens the floor for the session to begin, and then the debate begins. Some of the delegates will raise their placards, they will raise their hand motion, and to be motioning up for opening the debate. Once we open the debate, now the committee sessions get started, and now the fun starts. We set the agenda. How do we set the agenda? Beforehand, delegates most likely get to know each other, whether it's by WhatsApp groups or whether it's personal, like it's in person. They can get to see each other and meet each other beforehand. So once it's done like that, they can actually get the chance to discuss beforehand what are the topics that are very important, that are going to help them within the committee session to be discussing the very important points. So once they set the agenda, we are actually saying that they are proposing the very big topics, the very important points about the topic proposed, about the problem proposed. So setting the agenda means as if we are saying the issue is women's rights in Africa. Setting the agenda means that they're going to set topic A, they're going to discuss how women are not getting their rights, whether it's the healthcare, safety, the nutrition, and then topic B, they're going to be discussing maybe how to include women in societies, whether it's in workforce. So these topics are the main topics, and then the delegates get to discuss the subtopics later on within the committee sessions. Establishing the GSL. What does GSL mean? What do you think GSL means? GSL means General Speakers List. A General Speakers List, and we're going to be seeing later on how it works. Let's see. The General Speakers List is the speech that is given by each delegate, the delegate, of course, wishing to be speaking, and it's very important for a delegate to speak up in the General Speakers List, because as it says its name, it is a general speech. It gives a general stance of how your country is standing towards this topic. And most likely, after the General Speakers List, we're going to see how a moderated caucus works. Let's see. We have the moderated caucus, and then we have the unmoderated caucus. Let's go back to the previous, so you can actually get to take notes. So moderated caucus is when, after each country has given their general position, now the delegates are going to be taking the issue on a very deep level. How will they do that? Some of the delegates will propose to motion. Propose means they're motioning. So when a delegate says, I am the delegate of Ukraine, and I am proposing a motion to of a moderated caucus. Moderated caucus means that this is a very organized speech. How will they do that? They will propose 10 minutes. So this is the timing of the caucus. That means that's the timing of the segment. And then we will actually give each delegate 1 minute to speak. So then 10 delegates can be speaking. And the moderated caucus can take the title of a subtopic. Subtopic means that, as we have said, let's say we were discussing women's rights in Africa. The subtopic is going to be healthcare, how women in Africa are not receiving the great healthcare they should be getting. So this subtopic was raised by the delegate of Ukraine. And then the other delegates will be raising their placards. They're either voting in favor or against this subtopic. It means that they're either voting for this discussion to be opened or not. When the moderated caucus passes, then or when the subtopic passes, they're going to be discussing that within respective speeches. So every delegate that raised their placards, they're going to be noted, they're going to be recognized by the chair, and then the chair is going to be giving the chance to each delegate by how they raised their placards. They're going to be given the chance to give a speech and to share their stances and their country's propositions upon this subtopic. Moving on, unmoderated caucuses are the, I would say, and as I have always called them, the organized chaos of debates. Organized chaos, which means there are no formalities. There are no need to be giving out speeches by each delegate. There's no need to be raising the hands. There's no need to be asking for the word. It will be a very open discussion, informal discussion within the delegates themselves. So one delegate will be raising the motion. Motion, it means they're proposing for an unmoderated caucus that has the timing of, I would say, 7 to 8 minutes. And then the chair would ask for the delegates present to be voting. Once they vote in favor and once the quorum is available, it means the needed amount of delegates are present in the committee for it to function well. And when the unmoderated caucus proposition or motion passes, and then the committee is in informal session. Informal session means the delegates will be gathering their ideas, they will be proposing more solutions, they will be opening up to further solutions, to further subtopics, to more ideas to be discussed. They will tackle the problem, they will tackle all of these solutions from different sides. They will all be sharing their stances and how their countries, they can be actually affecting the problem, how they can be affecting the solutions as well. So all of these points can be discussed within a non-moderated caucus, but there will be no need for the delegates to be speaking up as having a speech. They can be just discussing and debating, and we have to keep in mind that respect and communication and diplomacy should be respected within the unmoderated caucus. Organized chaos, it doesn't mean that people lose the respect, but they actually have to keep up their words, yet at the same time they do not have to follow up with the formalities of giving a speech. If we have to discuss one important point within the unmoderated caucuses that happen, let's say we are in a very big committee. We are in the General Assembly and there are so many countries present there, okay? Some countries actually are allies with some others and they might be enemies with some others concerning a very certain topic. So blocks can be formed during the unmoderated caucuses. That's when delegates start discussing. Let's say a country is with Africa's women's rights, another isn't for some reason. And then they're going to be forming blocks. These blocks are going to be discussing different topics. They're going to be tackling this issue from very different and opposite ways. And usually in virtual MUNs, like blocks do not happen because usually the conferences are quite small. They're going to be small committees and there would be no need for blocks. But whether it's in an in-person session, there are going to be somehow some blocks in very big committees. As we have seen, there's a power for the committee to flow when delegates go from moderated to unmoderated. So let's say the delegates have proposed for a moderated caucus, and then they have proposed then for an unmoderated caucus, and then they started discussing that Africa is not giving their women the rights for healthcare, the right for education, the right for social inclusion. All of these topics can either be discussed underneath moderated or unmoderated. So as we have said, the moderated are speeches and the unmoderated are open discussions for all delegates to be present with no fear of giving a very formal speech. Delegates can motion for a moderated and then motion for an unmoderated. That's why I have set these arrows that it goes and then it comes back. You can always motion for a moderated and then motion for an unmoderated when it's needed. If you see that the committee needs a very open discussion, some delegates will motion for unmoderated caucuses. They will discuss freely with no need to give the speeches. And then when they finish these discussions, they can actually motion for a moderated caucus to be giving to the chair their very formal stance of how the discussions went. And do not be afraid to ask your chair for help. They will help you with the flow. They will help you with the rules and procedures. And once you start by actually getting into the conference, once you focus on how the flow is going, you will see that it is very easy and there's no need to be panicking. What is the main goal of the MUN? What do you think that would be? I am waiting for answers in the comment section. What do you think is the main goal of the committee? Why does a committee meet up? Why does a committee start debating very important global issues? Why do they do that? And purpose of what, do you think? What do you think is the outcome of 2 days conferences? Yes, absolutely, to form the resolution. We propose a very big global problem in order to be finding solutions for that. Pandemics strike the world, they hit all countries, and then the UN meets up. All bodies meet up in order to what? To find solutions for this global pandemic. And how does that happen? Within the discussions. And these discussions will actually lead to one thing. It's going to be the draft resolution. So the draft resolution, here we go. What is the draft resolution? It means it's the summary of all these moderated and unmoderated caucuses that have been discussed within these sessions. The draft resolution is a document adopted by committee members after debates and discussion. And that means that the fruit of all these sessions, the fruit of all these discussions, the fruit of all these debates, of all these ideas, of all these contradictions, of all these various options to actually find solution to one big problem is going to be summed up in one draft resolution. And the draft resolution usually, it has so many formats, so many conferences actually have different formats, they adopt different formats, but there is one very basic and one very, I would say general format of how a draft resolution look like, and it's going to be that it contains the preamble clauses where we can actually notice how we recognize the problem, how we point out the problems, how we focus on that. This is the main issue. We need to be focusing on that, and the delegates need to be targeting their solutions on that problem. So that's what the preamble does. And the operative clauses actually outline the solutions that have been discussed within the session. So the operative clauses are the main important part of the draft resolution. These are the very important clauses that the delegates need to be working on. This is the summary of how all these sessions went by. So all of the ideas, all of the debates, all of the sessions of the moderated and unmoderated will be summed up in these operative clauses. They will be mentioning that for the healthcare problem, that by the healthcare problem for Africa's women, maybe they can propose to have foreign hospitals open up. Maybe they're going to propose for international and national and organizations, the WHO, to take part in helping the women to get a great help and to get a great healthcare system for them. Maybe they're going to suggest that the government does a policy for women to be offering them all of the needs for them to be receiving the needed healthcare. I believe I have wanted to insert a draft resolution sample for you, but I can provide that later, no problem. So now we can see that the draft resolution has been set. All of the delegates have discussed, I'm not sure why the arrow is not moving. Okay. The draft resolution has been set. All of the ideas, all of the solutions have been mentioned in that draft resolution. And then I'm going to mention that there are going to be two parties in this draft resolution. And what do I mean by party? I would mean that there are the sponsors and there are the signatories. The sponsors, they're most likely to be three countries that select each other. They're going to be the countries that are going to present the final draft resolution to the whole committee. And that does not give them an advantage over any other delegate, but it means that they were the ones that actually wished to present the final draft resolution. And the signatories are all the countries that have contributed or that have mentioned or that have helped or that have shared information and that have wanted to assist and take part in that draft resolution. And they are mentioned in the beginning of the draft resolution by the alphabetical orders of all countries. The draft resolution has been set, everything is ready. The debates are are coming to an end. How does that happen? The draft resolution is presented by the delegates from a motion suggested by any delegate to a consultation of the whole. It means that they're going to be discussing the draft resolution. The sponsors are going to be presenting the draft resolution. They're going to be asked questions by delegates, maybe by chair. They're going to be setting their final touches on that draft resolution so it can be recognized by the chair. Because the fruit of this very, very important session of debating is going to be that draft resolution. So the basic work and the most important work needs to be put on that draft resolution. The amendments are the editings or the final touches that are going to be put on the draft resolution. And amendments are usually friendly or unfriendly. It means that the friendly amendments are going to be the ideas that need to be edited, the ideas that need to be adjusted by the support and by the acceptance of all these sponsors. But when, let's say, a country comes up and says that they do not agree on a certain resolution and the sponsors do not agree on that statement, it means they're motioning for an unfriendly amendment and that only this country does disagree on a very certain point. And then the chair needs to discuss that with the sponsors and with the other delegates. So after seeing that the draft resolution does take amendments, whether they're friendly or unfriendly, and most likely committees that have worked together very nicely and that have focused on debating, on sharing their ideas, like not giving importance to winning, not giving importance to competing, when the whole committee is working as a whole, when the committee is working as one, when the whole committee is looking forward to find one basic solution, one important solution for this very big important topic, there would be no unfriendly amendments, and then the draft resolution would be actually very, it would end up very nicely. Excuse me. Next, we can see that the draft resolution has been edited. What happens next? We vote upon the draft resolution. So the draft resolution, as I have mentioned 100 times before, it's the fruit of all of these sessions. If a draft resolution does not pass, it means the committee is in big trouble. The draft resolution needs to be agreed upon at least the majority, I would say, of the whole committee, because it's this fruit of this group work. So what does it make sense if we have a draft resolution and then the countries present and the committee do not agree upon it? So for that, the chair will be waiting for a motion to vote upon the draft resolution. The delegates will be, and as I have mentioned in the beginning, and now I'll be explaining it, the delegates will be given the chance to, as they have already chosen, to either be present or say that they are present and voting. So when they are present, it means that they have the right to abstain from voting on the draft resolution. When they say they are present and voting, it means that the only options given to them is to either say that they are in favor or against the draft resolution. And most likely, when I have, as I have said already, that the committees that work together so well, they will most likely be all voting in favor of the draft resolution so it can pass and it can be recognized by the chair, and so that the committee's work wouldn't go to waste. And the draft resolution triggers the substantive votes, and by that we mean it needs the 50+1, like 50% of the countries present, plus one is needed to pass for the resolutions. Once the draft resolution passes, and that is the very important point of all of this, of all of these sessions summed up. So when the draft resolution passes, we can tell that there's going to be a motion for closing the debate, and then we can say that the committee has succeeded. The delegates, all of them have done such a great work. They have all put so much effort in sharing their ideas and connecting with each other and not being afraid to speak up and give speeches and sharing their and sharing their opinions, considering maybe they might have some opposite ideas, some opposite opinions, some opposite stances, yet they have all contributed into sharing and to finding one big solution, because that's the important point of MUN. It's about debating, but not for winning. It's about debating for finding solutions. It's about debating for being present. It's about debating for being active. It's about debating for learning. So that's the very important point that I would actually mention. And when the whole committee debates, when the whole committee works together, it means that the committee has succeeded. And that's the very important point. It's not about one delegate succeeding and winning. It's about the whole committee succeeding as a whole. And I believe by that we have come to the end of our presentation. I have tried to sum up all of the very important ideas of what MUN is, how can you follow the rules and procedures. I tried to make it as simple as possible for all of you. I hope that after this presentation you can all be excited and looking forward to the MUN that's going to be hosted by Mediate Guru. They're going to be having their very first MUN, so I hope everyone is going to be applying right now. Be courageous, do not be afraid to apply, do not be afraid to research your country. You're going to have so much fun and you're going to gather a great experience. It is indeed a very nice program for the young minds. As I have said, the youth, the focus is on the youth. It starts by us, and we should do it now. Like right after this presentation, go and apply for your very first MUN. And I'll be taking the questions. Should I?
Yes. Participants, do you have any questions? You can just drop them in the chat box.
I'll be picking up I just need 1 second for the question. Okay, let's see. What do we have? How is Model UN different from other debating programs? Model UN is the smaller version of how the United Nations actually work. So that's the very important, that's the most special character or trait, I would say, about Model United Nations, that it is this simulation that how the UN actually works. It's going to be on a very smaller version, yet it is a very eye-opening experience, because some other debating programs might not give you this very flow, this very organized procedures, and it will not give you this consistency as being a delegate, because when you're an MUN delegate, you're going to gather so much experience, whether by the procedures that you need to follow, whether by the research that you need to do. Other debating programs will not give you this opportunity because they might not have all of these very strict yet helpful procedures and rules. Can you share your resolution experience? I'm not sure what you mean by resolution experience, but I can say that I have been a delegate so many times. I have won so many awards, and that was not my point. Actually, my point was to grow and to take more time on my journey. And I have been a chair as well. And I can say that it is enjoyable to be both. To be delegate, it has its own taste for you. It's going to give you one very special experience, and to be a chair, it's going to give you another experience. And both are going to help you grow. Whether by the research you've done, you're going to see that these information you've gathered are going to be very important for you on a daily basis. Once you're sitting down with a group of friends, you're going to be sharing important ideas or important information nobody actually thought they would know, and you wouldn't even actually believe that you have gathered from this very experience. So my experience was wonderful. I have met so many important people from around the world. We were given the chance to talk to so many people and to connect with young minds that share the same interests as I do. Can you explain the objectives and importance of MUN? I'm not sure if Garima can provide you with the presentation, but I have no problem with doing so. But I will let me give you just one quick look, that I can tell you that the importance of MUN is very important, or like it's very significant, because you're not only going to grow as a person, you're going to see so many people, you're going to have so many friends, and that's a good point. And you're going to learn to debate. And the debate, it's not going to happen in a very easy note. It's going to be a very, very respected, it's going to be a very organized debate. And that's why it's going to set you in your position. It's going to give you this position to act up, to act as a little leader, to act as the representative of this country. So it's going to help you be set on yourself, to be strict with yourself, yet at the same time, you're going to enjoy it. And it's not only going to give you this, it's going to give you these diplomacy skills that you're going to learn step by step. Once you start the debating, once you start the the discussions, you're going to see how you will notice the differences by how you discuss your ideas from conference to conference, even from session to session. So it's going to help you in ways I would not actually be able to explain unless you actually take part in MUN. So do so and apply to the immediate GRU MUN that's going up next. And then you're going to see how well you're going to do after that. You're going to see how you're going to benefit from it. So the importance of MUN is, I wouldn't be able to count them. The unfriendly amendment happens when a dignitary to the resolution does not agree with the sponsor. Yeah, usually the unfriendly amendments are by a country that has been opposing the resolutions, so they would wait for the resolution to be set up, and then they would motion for an amendment for something they maybe haven't discussed in the committee sessions, but they want to include in the draft resolution, or somehow something that they think that does not suit their country's position, so they want to cancel it from the draft resolution. And it doesn't happen in virtual conferences, because usually, as I have said, the committees are quite small. All the countries have the same positions. They have at least so many points to agree upon. So that's what the unfriendly amendment happens. How to be part of MUN. There are so many chances, there are so many conferences happening around the world on the virtual network. So MUN by Mediate GRU is happening very soon. I hope they can post the link for you so you can apply and take that first step and assist in your very first MUN. I'm pretty sure you're going to enjoy it. What do students gain most from Model United Nations? You're going to see how your confidence is going to boost, how your personality is going to grow. You're going to act up as a leader even when you're sitting with your friends. You're going to get this very nice character. You're going to be learning so much information within so much little time. So it's a very great experience once you actually go for MUN to enjoy, to learn, not to win. Can you please share some tips for IP members? I'm not sure what's IP members, but
Sarah, IP stands for International Press. Some of the MUNs have this other committee called International Press.
The International Press. Okay. Okay. I'm not sure. Maybe they are going to be expanding their networking experience. They're going to be expanding that circle. Any position in MUN, whether you're a delegate, whether you're applying for a chair or a board of dais, whatever it is, it's going to help you. It's going to benefit you in ways you cannot actually imagine. Because you have to take that experience to actually notice the changes you're going to see on your brain, on your character, on your learning skills, on your debating skills. So I'm trying to switch up to see the questions. How it could be effective in Indian conditions. I'm not really sure. I'm Lebanese, but I believe that all MUNs are going to be helping all international delegates And no matter what conditions you're going through, just use your laptop for good use. Make use out of it and apply to any MUN near you. And as I have mentioned for the 1 millionth time, Marriott Guru is going to be having their first MUN, so you could apply and see how it's going to help you out. It's about debating for learning. It is indeed. I'm not sure if there are any more questions. I will just take a final look before. I have been asked 2 times what's the difference between the UN, or like the MUN, and the other debating programs. And the other debating programs will not give you these procedures. They will not give you these rules. They will not give you this organization for your mind, for your research. So other debating programs might focus on something, and the MUN focuses on everything at once. So it's going to help you. It's going to be a more beneficial experience. All debating experiences are going to help you, but MUN is a very special one. I'm not sure if there are any more questions. Garima, do you see anything I haven't noticed?
No, I think these are the questions. These are the all questions we have for now. Okay. So thank you so much, Sarah, for such a vibrant, interactive and knowledgeable session. I would also like to thank all the participants for joining us, and I would request everyone to fill out the feedback form that is dropped in the chat box before you leave in order to receive your e-certificates. Thank you everyone for joining us. Before we leave, Diplotix is hosting its first International Model United Nations from 4th to 6th February 2022. There are 2 committees, UNSC and UNGA. Spots are filling fast, so you can reserve your spots now. If you don't want to miss out any updates from Diplotix, follow us on our social media platform and also join the WhatsApp group sent in the chat box. Stay healthy, stay safe. See you all soon.
Garima, for this very insightful session, and I hope that all the participants have benefited at least a bit from this, and that they can take part in your upcoming MUN. And I thank everyone for their listening and for their time. Stay safe and see you in upcoming presentations. Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye.